Macmillan Audio presents A Brief History of Artificial Intelligence by Michael Wooldridge. Narrated for you by Glen McCready. Introduction. About halfway through writing this book, I was having lunch with a colleague. "What are you working on?" she asked me. This is a standard question for academics. We ask it of each other all the time. I should have been ready for it and had an impressive answer ready at hand. "Something a bit different. I'm writing a popular science introduction to artificial intelligence." She snorted. "Does the world really need yet another popular science introduction to AI? What's the main idea, then? What's your new angle?" I was crestfallen. I needed a clever comeback, so I made a joke. "It's the story of AI through failed ideas." She looked at me. Her smile now faded. "It's going to be a bloody long book, then." Artificial intelligence, AI, is my life. I fell in love with AI as a student in the mid-1980s, and I remain passionate about it today. I love AI, not because I think it will make me rich, although that would be nice, nor because I believe it will transform our world, although, as we will hear in this book, I believe it will do so in many important ways. I love AI because it is the most endlessly fascinating subject I know of. It draws upon and contributes to an astonishing range of disciplines, including philosophy, psychology, cognitive science, neuroscience, logic, statistics, economics, and robotics. And ultimately, of course, AI appeals to fundamental questions about the human condition and our status as Homo sapiens, what it means to be human, and whether humans are unique. What AI is and isn't. My first main goal in this book is to tell you what AI is, and perhaps more important, what it is not. You might find this a little surprising, because it may seem obvious to you what AI is all about. Surely the long-term dream of AI is to build machines that have the full range of capabilities for intelligent action that people have, to build machines that are self-aware, conscious, and autonomous in the same way that people like you and I are. You will probably have encountered this version of the AI dream in science fiction movies, TV shows, and books. This version of AI may seem intuitive and obvious, but as we will see when we try to understand what it really means, we encounter many difficulties. The truth is, we don't remotely understand what it is we want to create or the mechanisms that create it in people. Moreover, it is by no means the case that there is agreement that this really is the goal of AI. In fact, it is fiercely contentious. There isn't even any consensus that this kind of AI is feasible, let alone desirable. For these reasons, this version of AI, the grand dream, is difficult to approach directly, and although it makes for great books, movies, and video games, it isn't in the mainstream of AI research. Of course, the grand dream raises quite profound philosophical questions, and we will discuss many of these in this book. But beyond these, much of what is written about this version of AI is really nothing more than speculation. Some of it is of the lunatic fringe variety. AI has always attracted crackpots, charlatans, and snake oil salesmen, as well as brilliant scientists. Nevertheless, the public debate on AI, and the seemingly never-ending press fascination with it, is largely fixated on the grand dream, and on alarmist dystopian scenarios that have become a weary trope when reporting on AI. AI will take all our jobs. AI will get smarter than we are, and then it will be out of control. Superintelligent AI might go wrong and eliminate humanity. Much of what is published about AI in the popular press is ill-informed or irrelevant. Most of it is garbage, from a technical point of view, however entertaining it might be. In this book, I want to change that narrative. I want to tell you about what AI actually is, what AI researchers actually work on, and how they go about it. The reality of AI for the foreseeable future is very different from the grand dream. It is perhaps less immediately attention-grabbing, but it is, as I will show in this book, tremendously exciting in its own right. The mainstream of AI research today is focused around getting machines to do specific tasks that currently require human brains, and also potentially human bodies, and for which conventional computing techniques provide no solution. This century has witnessed important advances in this area, which is why AI is so fated at present. Automated translation tools are one example of an AI technology that was firmly in the realm of science fiction 20 years ago, which has become a practical, everyday reality within the past decade. Such tools have many limitations, but they are successfully used by millions of people across the globe every day. Within the next decade, we will see high-quality, real-time spoken-word language translation and augmented reality tools that will change the way we perceive, understand, and relate to the world we live in. Driverless cars are a realistic prospect, and AI looks set to have transformative applications in healthcare, from which we will all stand to benefit. AI systems have proven to be better than people at recognizing abnormalities such as tumors on X-rays and ultrasound scans, and wearable technology, coupled with AI, has the potential to monitor our health on a continual basis, giving us advance warnings of heart disease, stress, and even dementia. This is the kind of thing that AI researchers actually work on. This is what excites me about AI, and this is what the AI narrative should be about. To understand what AI today is, and why AI is for the most part not concerned with the grand dream, we also need to understand why AI is hard to create. Over the past 60 years, huge amounts of effort and research funding have flowed into AI, and yet, sadly, robot butlers are not likely anytime soon. So, why has AI proved to be so difficult? To understand the answer to this question, we need to understand what computers are and what computers can do at their most fundamental level. This takes us into the realm of some of the deepest questions in mathematics and the work of one of the greatest minds of the 20th century, Alan Turing. The story of AI. My second main goal in this audiobook is to tell you the story of AI from its inception. Every story must have a plot, and we are told there are really only 7 basic plots for all the stories in existence. So which of these best fits the story of AI? Many of my colleagues would dearly like it to be rags to riches, and it has certainly turned out that way for a clever or lucky few. For reasons that will become clear later, we could also plausibly view the AI story as slaying the beast in this case being an abstract mathematical theory called computational complexity, which came to explain why so many AI problems proved fearsomely hard to solve. The quest would also work, because the story of AI is indeed rather like that of medieval knights on a quest to find the Holy Grail, full of religious fervour, hopeless optimism, false leads, dead ends, and bitter disappointments. But in the end, the plot that best fits AI is fall and rise, because only 20 years ago, AI was a rather niche area with a somewhat questionable academic reputation. But since then, it has risen to be the most vibrant and celebrated area in contemporary science. It would be more accurate, though, to say that the plot to the AI story is rise and fall and rise and fall and rise. AI has been the subject of continuous research for more than half a century, but during this time, AI researchers have repeatedly claimed to have made breakthroughs that bring the dream of intelligent machines within reach, only to have their claims exposed as hopelessly over-optimistic in every case. As a consequence, AI is notorious for boom and bust cycles. There have been at least 3 such cycles in the past 4 decades. At several points over the past 60 years, the bust has been so severe that it seemed like AI might never recover, and yet, in each case, it did. If you imagine that science is all about orderly progress from ignorance to enlightenment, then I'm afraid you are in for a bit of a shock. Right now, we are in boom times yet again, and excitement is at a fever pitch. At such a time of fevered expectations, it is, I think, essential that the troubled story of AI is told, and told again. AI researchers have more than once thought they had discovered the magic ingredient to propel AI to its destiny. And the breathless, wide-eyed discussion of current AI has precisely the same tone. Sundar Pichai, CEO of Google, was reported to have claimed that AI is one of the most important things humanity is working on. It is more profound than, electricity or fire. This followed an earlier claim by Andrew Ng to the effect that AI was the new electricity. It is important to remember what came of such hubris in the past. Yes, there have been real advances, and yes, they are cause for celebration and excitement. But they will not take us to the grand dream. As an AI researcher with 30 years of experience, I have learned to be obsessively cautious about the claims made for my field. I have a very well-developed sense of skepticism about claims for breakthroughs. What AI needs now, perhaps more than anything, is a very large injection of humility. I am reminded of the story from ancient Rome of the auriga, a slave who would accompany a triumphant general on his victory march through the city, repeatedly whispering in the general's ear the Latin phrase, "Memento homo," remember you are only human. The second part of this book, therefore, tells the story of AI, warts and all, in broadly chronological order. The story of AI begins just after the creation of the first computers following the Second World War. I will take you through each of the boom periods, starting with the golden age of AI, a period of unbridled optimism, when it seemed for a while that rapid progress was being made on a broad range of fronts. Next, through the knowledge era, when the big idea was to give machines all the knowledge that we have about our world. And, more recently, the behavioral period, which insisted that robots should be center stage in AI, taking us up to the present time, the era of deep learning. In each case, we'll meet the ideas and the people that shaped AI in their time. The future for AI. While I believe it is important to understand the present hubbub about all things AI within the context of a long history of failed ideas, and to temper one's excitement accordingly, I also believe there is real cause for optimism about AI right now. There have been genuine scientific breakthroughs, and these, coupled with the availability of big data and very cheap computer power, have made possible in the past decade AI systems that the founders of the field would have hailed as miraculous. So, my third main goal is to tell you what AI systems can actually do right now and what they might be able to do soon, and to point out their limitations. This leads me into a discussion of fears about AI. As I mentioned previously, the public debate about AI is dominated by dystopian scenarios such as AI taking over the world. Recent advances in AI do raise issues that we should all be concerned about, such as the nature of employment in the age of AI and how AI technologies might affect human rights. But discussions about whether robots will take over the world, or whatever, take the headlines away from these very important and immediate concerns. So, once again, I want to change the narrative. I want to take you through the main areas of concern and to signpost as clearly as I can what you should be afraid of and what you should not. Finally, I want us to have some fun. So in the final chapter, we will return to the grand dream of AI, conscious, self-aware, autonomous machines. We will dig into that dream in more detail and ask what it would mean to realize it, what such machines would be like, and whether they would be like us. How to listen to this audiobook. The remainder of this audiobook is structured around these overarching goals. To tell you what AI is and why it is hard, to tell you the story of AI, the ideas and people that drove it through each of its boom periods, and finally, to showcase what AI can do now and what it can't, and to talk a little about the long-term prospects for AI. One of the pleasures of writing it has been to cast off the usual important but tiresome conventions of academic writing. Thus, there are relatively few references, although I give citations for the most important points and a couple of recommendations for further reading in the accompanying PDF. Not only have I avoided giving extensive references, I've also steered clear of technical details, by which I mean mathematical details. My hope is that after hearing this audiobook, you will have a broad understanding of the main ideas and concepts that have driven AI throughout its history. Most of these ideas and concepts are, in truth, highly mathematical in nature, but I am acutely aware of Stephen Hawking's dictum that every equation in a book will halve its readership. The book is highly selective. I really had no choice here. AI is an enormous field, and it would be utterly impossible to do justice to all the different ideas, traditions, and schools of thought that have influenced AI over the past 60 years. Instead, I have tried to single out what I see as being the main threads which make up the complex tapestry that is the story of AI. Finally, I should caution that this is not a textbook. I am painting a very finely detailed picture with a very broad brush. Listening to this audiobook will not equip you with the skills to start a new AI company or to join the staff of DeepMind, the most celebrated AI company of the present era. What you will gain is an understanding of what AI is and where it might be heading. I hope that after listening, you will be properly informed about the reality of AI, and after hearing it, you will help me to change the narrative. Oxford, May 2019.